Hello. Today we're going to do a reflection on Palm Sunday. It's weird, every time I start to think about doing a reflection, leading a reflection, I begin to yawn and oh dear. Plainly this is no exception, but it's a signal really that when we do reflect together we should be relaxed, our feet should be firmly planted on the ground. Our shoulders should be eased, and we just begin with a couple of deep breaths. And I recommend that you keep your eyes closed during this reflection. Interestingly, it's entitled Jesus' Triumphal Entry into Jerusalem. When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say this: 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them immediately." This took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you humble, and mounted on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them, and he sat on them. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the roads. And the crowds that went ahead of him and that followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this?" And the crowds were saying, "This is the prophet, Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee." A prophet. Do please close your eyes if you haven't already. I want you to imagine that you're there in the crowd. You may be one of those who's cut a branch to lay on the floor, on the road. It may be that you've taken off your cloak and laid it there for Jesus to walk on. It may be that you're one of the disciples, travelling closely to Jesus. It may be that you're in Jerusalem, hearing all this tumult and wondering what is going on. Let's think about the day. Let's think about how we feel. You may have travelled with Jesus for some time if you're in the crowd with him on the road past the Mount of Olives. You maybe feel that you're one of the disciples. You've been with this group for so long. Why today? Why Jerusalem? What is Jesus doing here? I wonder what the road is like. There's a lot of horses and donkeys and cattle and human traffic up and down that road. I wonder if that's why people are spreading palms on it and spreading their cloaks on it, so that Jesus and those with him don't have to travel avoiding horse manure and goat droppings and donkey poo. I wonder if that's why. Or is it like a special carpet laid out for a conquering hero? Is this something like a Roman triumph in a weird reversal, where the victorious general is crowned with laurels at the end of the procession? He marches in, leading his troops probably on a white stallion or a black stallion in full armour. And here is Jesus. What's he wearing? Maybe that simple one-piece robe that everyone talks about. He may be wearing sandals today, he may be not. And he's sitting on the back of a donkey. No stallion for Jesus. A humble beast of burden. How do you feel about that? Would you prefer it if he was on a big white stallion, a big black stallion, leading a force of Hebrew people into Jerusalem? Would that be a good thing in your mind? Is it a hot day? Is the sun shining down? Is there a press of bodies around the side of the road and behind Jesus? I wonder how you feel about all this hubbub. And if you're in Jerusalem, what is this noise coming towards the city? There's no major procession scheduled for today. There's no major festival. Where are all these people coming from? What do they want? Who is this person on a donkey? Why are they shouting? What are they shouting? The Messiah? Isn't that what the Jews have been waiting for? Isn't that what we have been waiting for? There's not much of a Messiah riding on a donkey. Doesn't look very impressive. He looks a bit tired and grubby. Why are they all making such a fuss? These rustic folk from the country. I heard his dad was a carpenter. Why so much fuss over a carpenter's son? What has he done? Not really that interested, apart from all this noise. It grates on one. And all these bumpkins, what are they doing here? Where are they going to eat tonight? Are they going to camp outside the city like some invading army? Or are they going to wander in to the taverns? And if you're in the crowd from the country, you might be asking yourself similar questions. Why are we making such a fuss over a carpenter's son? What is it about Jesus that makes me want to follow him? And follow him to Jerusalem, to the seat of power? What is his thinking? And if you're a disciple, how did Jesus know that there'd be a donkey and a foal? How did Jesus know that the owner of the donkey and the foal would just let the disciples take them back to Jesus? What is it about this man we've chosen to follow that he knows these things? And why, against all our advice, has he decided just now, just in time for the feast of the Passover, to come to a strange place on the outskirts of Jerusalem? Surely it can't be wise. And this procession, what's that about? Does he want them to know that he's coming? Does he want to warn them? Set them on their guard? For me as a disciple, it's deeply worrying. This isn't how I saw the Messiah at all. And I know he talks about loving our neighbour and loving God, but actually it would be great if we could throw the Romans out, and I thought that's what this was all about. Two crowds, two groups. One from the country, one from the city. One man on a donkey, surrounded by his friends. Does he even know why now? Why Jerusalem? Amen. You may want to open your eyes now. Reconnect with the world around you. I hope the various bangs and clunks during that reflection didn't distract you. And I hope you got a real sense of what it might have been like that day on the outskirts of Jerusalem as Jesus marched into town with his crowd from the country. Later today, I will post a reading, the Passion reading. There will be no reflection. The Passion reading is a long reading, and I think it speaks in many ways for itself. Goodbye for now.